Hello, happy people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at the novel War of the Twins by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman, which was published in '86. It was published just a few months after the previous one in this trilogy, which was published just a few months after the last one in the previous trilogy, which was also published just a few months after the previous one for that trilogy, the middle book. These books are being published at a very quick clip. It's best-selling, hit as high as number 12 on the New York Times bestsellers list, so this is a best-selling book that's been read by millions of people. I've read this series now twice, and this book now twice, and I've read the first trilogy now 4 times. I decided to go back and reread it for the first time. When I was in junior high, I came across the Dragon Riders for the first series. I really enjoyed it. I came back and reread it again when I was in high school, again when I was in college, but I haven't touched it since then, and that was about 20 years ago. So I decided to go back and reread it and see what I still thought of it. And when I was a kid, I would have given the original Chronicles 9s out of 10s. I loved it so much. And then now going back to it as an adult, with the value of time and having read a lot of true 9s out of 10s, I've dropped it to a 7 out of 10. Still fine, still readable, still a good place to start, but not where I probably would have read it. And this trilogy, I probably would have given an 8 out of 10 if you would ask me, but I've only read it one time in junior high, and that's it. So it's been about almost 25 years now since I've read it. And again, I probably would have given it an 8 out of 10. I probably would have said just one worse than the original trilogy. But now going back to it, it's more of a 6. There are more issues. There are things in it that I don't like that much. There are plot lines. It's way too long than it needs to be. I do enjoy the central conceit of this series of time travel through the past and major hits of Kryn through the first 2 novels. The first novel takes place during the Cataclysm, which is an event that's described as this apocalyptic event in the first trilogy. That took place hundreds of years ago, and now we'll go back and actually see the Cataclysm happen and meet the key figure and that sort of a thing. And then again in this trilogy, we're going to be moving forward in time about 100 years to the Dwarf Gate Wars, and we're going to be telling the story of the Dwarf Gate Wars, a key event that happens in Kryn. Before leaving and then moving forward to the 3rd and final book in this series. So I do like the time travel aspect. It's rarely done in a fantasy, so it's nice to see it. But I do feel, having finished the first book, and I feel this even strongly after the second book, that this would have been better as a trilogy instead of as a trilogy. It's just one book. I think, for example, the first book, it takes 200 pages before they start traveling in time, and the entire first book is just a prelude. Well, I think you could have done like a 50-page prelude, and it would have been fine. And then I think you could have taken the Cataclysm and then just book 200 pages and you just made it 100 pages. Take the second book, the Dwarf Gate Wars, make it 100 pages. Take the third book in the future and take it 100 pages, and then that's it. You've got 50 pages, 100, 100, 100, then a 50-page end, and you got a 400-page novel, which is the same length as these things. For example, in the first book, there's an entire chapter in the prelude dedicated to why and the leader of the mages, Parcelian, why he is going to cast the time travel spell. To his, he's being debated by the other members of the 2 heads of the orders of the white robes and the black robes. He's the head of the white robes and also the head of the order. So there's a debate back and forth. They're protesting, they're agreeing. He talks with them. He shows them a description of the spell, and that's it. It's like an entire chapter. But nothing happens. He doesn't change his mind. He's not like, nothing changes, right? There's no additions or changes that happen. He's just explaining why he's going to do it. I don't think that that's necessary to tell the story. I think there's a lot of these sidelights. And then I think the key features just don't get told as much. For example, there's the first battle in this like 400-page long novel that happens during the Dwarf Gate Wars is like halfway through the novel, and it's a chapter. It's not a deep dive into the battle or anything like that. And that's the most detailed battle in the Dwarf Gate Wars. And again, it's not real. It's just a chapter. So if all you're going to do is just spend one chapter for one battle, why are you giving me like 250 pages as a prelude? I don't need that much prelude. So seeing these sort of issues with the book, I'm moving more to a 6 than an 8 that I would have given it when I first read it in junior high. about 25 years ago, because I do think that the book does have some structural issues to it. Now, Dragonlance Chronicles are a nice place to start in the first series, and then this one obviously is a nice place to start for a place to go as a deep dive. If you've been playing Dungeons & Dragons and you've heard about this stuff, this is not a bad place to go because it's based on the world, right? I know a lot of players who've played the games, so some are my age that heard of this stuff and just never went to it. And I do think there's value in going back and rereading some of these classics from the gaming from the 80s, from the mid 80s in this case, in 86, about midway through the year. And it's nice. I think there's value in it. And this is a 6, and I'll finish the other novel. I'm already 70 pages into, and I've read the first part last night for the first. So I'm going to go ahead and knock out the third novel, and we'll see where the third novel winds up. It might be a 6, maybe it rises to a 7, maybe it drops to a 5. We'll see, or maybe it rises to a 9 out of 10. Who knows? I keep myself open. But I enjoy going back and rereading some things that I really enjoyed as a child and figuring out where they stand. And this is, again, something that has disappointed me. Some things are still standing the test of time, and that sort of a thing that happens. I followed Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman, love them, to the Dark Sword trilogy, to the Death's Gate cycle, and some of their future stuff that they've come back to this world and read again and again and again, the stuff that they've written. So I'm definitely somebody who's a fan of their rights. The sort of TSR Wizards of the Coast comments about these two people that this book put on the map in a major way with the first series. It is that basically one of them is Tracy Hickman's really good at writing heroes, and the other one, Margaret Weis, is really good at writing villains and has a real love for those sorts of things. So that's why they're good, because there's so many characters in this have fallen and so many characters in it that have risen. So that's why that sort of a thing. But again, I think that this whole trilogy and the idea, I think it would have been better served by a nice paced, well done novel, rather than dragging me through all sorts of stuff in order to get to a thing that's only chapter 1. But again, the point stands. I'm giving this a 6 out of 10. Have you read it? What did you think? Did you agree or disagree? Would you like to talk about any of the spoilers? I keep this stuff spoiler free, so that way you can go to it fresh if you've never read it before. Because I know a lot of people that read this stuff and then went to play the game because they really liked the idea, because it's really steeped in the game. So I'd be happy to talk with you further about it in the comments below, whatever your take is of this novel. If you like this review, why not hit that subscribe button? There's going to be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it in watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.